Aloha! Welcome to week 2 of CM400C. In this lecture, I'm going to briefly introduce you to design patterns for both iOS and Android devices. Of the many design patterns that are out there, I'm highlighting 6 common yet different design patterns that many of you are probably familiar with. Let's get started. What is a design pattern? Design patterns are nothing but the solutions proposed to solve certain problems as it relates, in this case, to mobile design. Many of the design patterns you see today have been distilled down from previous design experiences. As you can see, in the Design TimeHop app login design pattern pictured here, you can see the designer has considered how to give the user the most information possible about the TimeHop app to get them to either sign up or log in to join the experience, rather than a more traditional login that would have put it front and center, leaving the user thinking, I'm not sure what this app is all about, and I would rather not sign up or sign in because I'm not sure what I'm getting into. This is a great example of the distillation of the login design pattern to something more simple, elegant, and above all, more informative and user-centered. All design patterns have a name and seek to solve a design challenge within the pattern. As you may already know from your week 2 readings, you can see how many design patterns exist and the subtle differences between design patterns for iOS and Android. Design patterns also play a role in helping designers and developers agree on what can be built given a certain amount of time or resources. The more customization or differentiation from a basic design pattern will inevitably require more work for both the designer and the developer. In this course, you will be designing for either the Android or iOS devices. I will cover a few examples of Android design patterns followed by iOS design patterns. So let's take a moment now and learn more about Android design patterns. This is Android design pattern 6.5 called Map. Many of you are probably familiar with this design pattern if you use the Google Maps app on the Android. This pattern seeks to solve the problem of giving the user a sense of place and what places of interest are nearby. The solution proposed in this design pattern places the user on a map in real time and gives them options to have access to GPS navigation, traffic information, and details regarding places of interest and or even places they don't know about them that are nearby. This Android design pattern is probably another familiar pattern that you have come across when interacting with your mobile device. Pictured here is an image from the MailChimp app, which enables users to manage their email marketing needs. The design pattern captured here is the pop-up alert. This pattern seeks to allow users to make specific decisions as it relates to the current state of their experience or mobile device. For example, when the user logs into the MailChimp app, a pop-up alert asks if they want the browser to remember his or her password. Other pop-up alert examples include giving an app permissions to use the user's current location. Users are also alerted when their battery runs low, at which point they can make the decision to plug their device in. However, as informative pop-up alerts can be, if abused or used readily throughout a user's app experience, it could become a nuisance to the user and therefore could move away from principles associated with user-centered design. The basic rule of thumb is to limit the amount of pop-up alerts in your design. One of the biggest challenges that face mobile designers is the fact that design decisions have to be made largely based on limited screen size. Although mobile screens have become larger since its inception, designers will constantly need to consider screen space when it comes to user experience and interactive design. The pop-over menu design pattern seeks to solve the tug-of-war between screen space and functionality by revealing more user choices in a pop-over menu, provides designers with an extra navigation layer that can enhance the user's experience without presenting them with all the features and functionalities. As a designer, you will need to prioritize what options will always be available to the users and what options will be placed into a pop-over menu. We've looked at 3 Android design patterns. Let's switch gears and take a look at some iOS design patterns. In many data-driven apps, such as the Yahoo Weather app, in addition to being presented with weather forecasts, users can view animated maps, add locations, and track weather for their preferred locations. The drawer navigation design pattern seeks to solve this data-rich experience by presenting users a number of content and task choices in an organized manner. By providing more options via drawer navigation, this preserves user-centered design principles by first greeting the user with weather information and then giving them the choice to go beyond that and find out more. The list design pattern is a very common and incredibly intuitive way to organize large amounts of data based on user search and/or user location. Expedia app gives users the ability to search and make their travel plans all in one place. The list design pattern seeks to quickly allow users to review possible choices as a result of their search in this case. 2. Allow users to then make a choice and push out to a detailed view to learn more about their selection. Most lists design patterns push out to a detailed view design pattern. This is a very well-used sequence of design patterns. Designers have really created some very elegant and simple detail views that give the user less or more information to help them make the ultimate decision to book or to purchase. The detail view design pattern seeks to provide users with just the right amount of information they need to make a decision to book, purchase, or visit a location. If the user hasn't found what they're looking for, it's easy enough for them to head back to the list and browse more. Design patterns are available to help you think and plan your mobile design and understand how the design supports a user-centered experience. If you have been using mobile devices for a decade, you can see how much distillation has occurred with many of the design patterns I discussed today, as well as the other patterns that you are familiar with or will review in your textbooks or online. Once again, please take a moment to review the design patterns in your textbooks as well as in the links provided for week 2. In the next 2 lectures, I will give a brief overview of Apple's Human Interface Guidelines. Aloha and have a great week.